meteorologist Mark Molnar with a special tropical weather bulletin here on Hurricane Joaquin, a major hurricane at that, Category 4, moving through the eastern Bahamas here. As you can see, that will continue to move. It's been moving a little bit further southwest than originally thought. Will start to turn towards the north Friday and strengthen into 150-mile-per-hour winds. But after about Saturday here, that's where things really start to differ from what the original forecast models here the last couple days were predicting. Most of the models took it into the U.S. East Coast, but doing a hard left turn here into the U.S. East Coast. And now most models are jumping on board with the Euro, which has been consistent in all of its ensemble members and taking it out to sea here. And the reason why the Euro's been picking up on that southern extent of the front here, trailing into the Gulf of Mexico, which is going to be enough to push Joaquin out to sea. That being said, there wasn't enough blocking to keep Joaquin deflected and going to the northwest after days 3 and 4 this weekend. So we're going to continue to watch it here at MeteoMark's Weather Northeastern because this is a big change from the original prediction, but nevertheless, this system should deflect towards the northeast, and we'll have to watch Bermuda because Bermuda is still not out of the woods with this system just yet, as the models have been even trending further east here. So we'll watch this system. It should remain a hurricane, a major hurricane, through more than half of its forecast period here, so watch out for this system. But thankfully, a lot of people along the east coast of the U.S. and Canada are breathing a sigh of relief with this major Hurricane Joaquin, but the Bahamas are really getting pummeled with this system. So if you live in the Bahamas, continue to prepare for this if you haven't already, and most of you in the eastern Bahamas, this thing is right on top of you. So all preparations should have been rushed to completion to protect life and property. And that being said, take a look at that satellite photo. Central dense overcast, tightly wound system. This system looks dangerous on satellite photo here, and keeping that major hurricane status here as it moves through the Bahamas. And take a look at those those wind speeds, tropical storm force winds around the outer periphery here, extending way out across much of the Bahamas, reporting tropical storm force winds. But it's right around that center, right around the eye, that those tightly wound hurricane force winds. So if you're near that center, that's where you're going to be experiencing tremendous catastrophic damage from this major hurricane. So I'll continue to watch it here at MeteoMark's Weather Northeastern. This system has been very difficult to forecast, so hopefully we're getting this pinned down as the hours draw closer to the weekend with this system. Let's take a look at the something from Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. Derek Rentschler from Lebanon County, Pennsylvania, reporting this EF1 tornado out of Lancaster, Pennsylvania, East Hempfield Township. And this happened back on September 30th, 2015 here, reporting in about just after midnight. This tornado touched down a couple times, damaging some buildings, a warehouse, even a residential area, as this system crossed Route 30 at one point and was moving to the northwest. This was an individual cell that did not have a tornado warning out with it, that was embedded in the main shield of rainfall that moved through for the most part. And there was some of those embedded thunderstorms. A lot of them didn't have any lightning or thunder with them. But nevertheless, this system produced a tornado. So thank you, Derek. Thankfully, nobody was injured or hurt, and he says he got about 2 inches of rainfall out of this system. He didn't get this actual cell, but out of the embedded the whole shield of precipitation, he got about 2 inches of beneficial rain. Let's take a look at those precipitation totals. We're going to get to the Carolinas here because that's really catching your eye out west here. Look at the solid shield of rain as troughs kick in with the El Nino pattern, 1 to 3 inches widespread. Beneficial, but look at the Carolinas here. Even though Joaquin will be on its way out to the weekend, we still have to watch this cutoff low that will really bomb across the southeast. The jet stream lifts out, a ridge develops, and that leaves this system with no place to go. So that means tremendous amounts of rainfall on the order of 10 to 14 inches for South Carolina and southern North Carolina, and widespread 3 to 6 inch amounts and 6 to 10 inch amounts. So watch out for this. Turn around, don't drown. You don't want to be caught in those waters or driving through them. Let's take a look at that pattern. Trough out west here, that digs that ridge back east. Look at that, pushing a ridge even into eastern Canada here. That should develop a warming trend. Unfortunately, that leaves along that stalled out frontal boundary along the east coast, that leaves that cutoff low here, very strong cutoff low, and it has no place to go. And that's where tropical moisture will continue to spin in from Hurricane Joaquin, even though Joaquin should stay off the coast. Let's take a look at those surface maps starting with your Friday. This is a lot better than originally predicted. You can see, yes, we'd have the chance of showers here across the lower Susquehanna River Valley into southern New England here. Temperatures staying in the mid-50s for the most part. But the good news is most of this should stay under a tenth to a quarter of an inch heading on into Saturday. Take a look at that. We get some moisture riding through New York and Pennsylvania with an impulse of energy along the front. Front's off the coast here, but still we got impulses riding up and propagating along it. And that means maybe a tenth to a quarter of an inch from Binghamton, Scranton, Harrisburg, all the way over to Pittsburgh and Newark, New Jersey, New York City, even towards Hartford, Connecticut, and Boston. We'll see some showers developing later in the day, but this does not mean anything heavy into Sunday. A lot of that kind of washes out here. We still have the chance of showers in the forecast, lower Hudson Valley, Susquehanna River Valley. But look at this, we're clearing out. We're starting to see even some breaks of sunshine across the eastern Great Lakes, St. Lawrence River Valley. We're even starting to warm it up here. We see some hints of some 60-degree temperatures. And heading on into Monday, look at this. That front really moves off the coast. We don't have too much to speak of other than a chance of a stray shower across coastal areas and adjacent areas 100 miles inland. But nevertheless, you see these temperatures rebounding nicely into the lower to mid 60s and even pushing near 70 degrees in some areas here. So this is very, very good news to say the least. So that being said here, in 10 seconds, I'll have a 5-day outlook for my hometown viewers from Binghamton to Scranton. Don't forget to like me on Facebook and MeteoMark. Subscribe to me on YouTube and MeteoMark comments, Twitter at WX Northeastern, and Google Plus and MeteoMark. Here's your 5 days stretching from basically your Friday through the weekend and into early next week. Look at that Friday, some breaks of clouds and sun, mid-50s. Into Saturday, we get about a tenth to a quarter of an inch of rain moving through with that disturbance, but nothing too bad. Into Sunday, we get maybe some scattered shower into Monday as well. But look at this, temperatures warming into the lower 60s. By about the time frame of Monday and Tuesday. That's going to do it for this edition of Weather Northeastern.